for all of my streams to propagate correctly. Sometimes we have a little bit of a delay between when this goes onto Facebook versus when this goes onto YouTube versus when this goes onto Instagram. Instagram I already have running over here in this area. So hello to Instagrammers. Let me make sure that everything is working. See? Just had the YouTube pop up with the alert saying that we're live over on YouTube. So let me make sure that it's working. Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay there. Actually, I forgot to put in my headphones. I was so excited about the overlay that I created that I forgot to put in my headphones. So good job there, Hilary. All right, everything sounds good over on YouTube. Let me double check Facebook before we really start. I get a little bit crazy about the tech stuff, and I know that probably means that some people tune in for a little bit and then completely drop off because I'm taking too much time at the beginning. But I would rather take some time at the beginning to make sure everything's working correctly before I speak to the ether and have no one hear it or it doesn't record properly or what have you. Anyway, this is one of those episodes that we're talking about scheduling the rest of the episodes for the month of May and what we're going to be talking about, different topics that we're going to be covering. So it's not quite as content heavy as some of the other episodes that we do, but still I want to make sure that everyone's able to see it on all the different platforms. Now, give me 1 second here. All right, looks like we're good. So people are going to just have to let me know if anything goes wrong, because I'm just assuming that everything is working and copacetic. And if it's not, sometimes I won't know it until minutes later where I think everything's running correctly and it turns out you guys have like a black screen or the audio is gone or what have you. So we're running things. Everything looks good. We've got Katie here. Hello from Facebook. Hello, Katie. Katie is letting me know that it sounds good on Facebook. So great. I see we have Night Vision Tarot over on Instagram. So welcome to you. And for those of you tuning in on YouTube, welcome to you, whether you're tuning in live or you're watching the replay. So introductions. Hello and welcome to another episode of Tarot by Hilary Live. I am your hostess with the mostest, Hilary of tarotbyhilary.com, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. And if you think that I'm not talking to you, I am. I'm talking to you. This is directly to those of you who think that you don't have intuition. Trust me, I believe everybody has intuition. And, you know, whether it's that deep feeling in the pit of your stomach, whether that's hearing in your ears, but not your ears, someone talking to you or a message or a download, or just a thought that doesn't sound like your thought process, that is completely your intuition speaking to you. And there is a difference between the voice of fear and the voice of intuition. If you want more information on that or learning how to discern between those two things, definitely sign up for my Tarot Intuitive course. It has been delayed by a couple of months due to the pandemic, and I'm just completely screened out sometimes. So early summer, I believe we're going to be starting that up again. It's usually in the month of February, but I was just like, I can't. I can't do it. So if those of you tuning in right now are looking for a free reading, this is not the space for a free reading. If you would like to book a reading with me, you can totally do so at tarotbyhilary.com. That is my website. And I can actually pull that up right now. Hold on 1 second here. Actually, I can pull it up with my appointment types. So give me a second here. So we definitely have, I'm definitely still doing readings during the pandemic. It just has to be over Skype, Zoom, email, phone, etc. So I've gone and popped my website, specifically the purchase a reading section of my website. If you would like to book a reading, I've got a great online scheduler that eliminates the back and forth about what time we're meeting and when and where and how. So the how part is over phone, Skype, or email at this point right now. So if you would like to book a reading with me, you absolutely can do so. The information is right there, and the information is on Instagram for you guys as well. You can just go to my profile after the episode, and there should be a link right there. So given all of that, and knowing that this is not a space for free readings, I do what you see over onto the side of the screen. This is the agenda for pretty much every episode that I do. We start off the top of the episode with astrology from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. Then we do the topic of the episode. In this case, we're talking about scheduling episodes for the month of May. And then we finish off with the weekend forecast, which is either a tarot or an oracle card to set you off with the right energy for the weekend and what to look out for over the weekend. So knowing that, stay tuned for the astrology or the weekend forecast. That is the only capacity in which I do freebies. And I hope you all understand that, because, you know, every time I do a reading session or a drive-by session, and I plan to do free readings, one question readings, people don't show up. And then when I plan to teach a topic, people show up asking for readings. So I can't win either way. Anyway, this is not the space for it. If you want a reading, you can definitely book a reading with me. Okay. So I see that Melissa is here. Hello, Melissa, my wonderful co-host and friend of the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast that we do, with episodes dropping every second and fourth Friday of the month. So Melissa's tuning in over on Facebook. I see the Tarot Lady is here over on Instagram. Hi, Teresa. I'm about to dip into the AstroBiz Digest at the top of the episode, like I always do. I give just a taste for you guys to get hooked on Teresa's astrology and then go get the subscription for yourself, because that is not cool. Giving away the farm for somebody else on behalf of somebody else. That really takes away from their value, their work, what they're, putting out there. But I do like to advertise by just giving you a little bit of what can be expected over the weekend. So, yeah. Ooh, Teresa says, yeah, exactly. And this is how I structure every episode, is started off with you. So I hope you know that, and I hope you appreciate it. And if ever you don't, just let me know and I'll stop doing it. But hopefully you have a ton of people coming and purchasing the AstroBiz Digest because of some of what I'm giving during these weekly episodes. So that's my intention anyway. P. Delane joined, so I'm going to wave to you. Melissa's asking me, why are you so pretty? I don't know. Just lucky, I guess. I didn't even put on makeup this episode. I wanted to. And then I realized, oh crap, it's like 6:20 and I only have 10 minutes, and 10 minutes is just not enough time. It's just not. So Teresa says, you are the best. No, you're the best, Teresa. Let me drink a little bit of hydration here. This is actually one of my gifts that I got from my sister for my 40th birthday. So it was kind of an odd birthday because she got me like this never grow up with all of my cartoons from when I was growing up that I know and loved. Especially she pointed out like Rainbow Bright, Gem, Care Bears, Strawberry Shortcake. But it was just like, it was very strange because it's just like, okay, on your 40th birthday, you get basically something that your inner child can enjoy. So it's just like, okay. She also got me this beautiful necklace as well. I can't really show it. I can't do it justice, but I think it's a 3-penny piece because my family is from England with my birth year on it. So yeah, just lucky, I guess. Katie says, cause she just is. Aw, guys. Aw, shucks. P. Delane or PD Elaine, or I don't know how to pronounce your handle. Rainbow Bright and Strawberry Shortcake. Wow, that brings back memories. I know, right? I don't think they make cartoons like that anymore. I mean, some of my friends were telling me that I really need to watch the revamped DuckTales, that it was really good. And there's a little bit of like, nostalgia in it, but it's still like really good, like a really good cartoon. So I'm going to have to watch that. I'm always up for, cartoon recommendations or TV recommendations. I actually just went back and watched Howard's End, the mini series that was on Stars with Haley Atwell and Matthew McFadden. I think that came out like in 2017. I don't know. And I was so excited about it because it had Haley Atwell. And yet I just never ended up watching it. And so I went and I watched it. It was only like 4 parts. And the last part, the last episode made me so freaking angry. So I'm always up for watching or recommendations of different shows or books or movies to watch. So, but yeah, I would love to be able to revisit like the old school Rainbow Bright, Care Bears, Snorks as well. Muppet Babies. I can go through the entire thing, but that's, not the purpose of tonight's episode. P. Delane. Okay, cool. So I think I got it right the first time. See, something to be learned from intuition, right? Usually our intuition is right the first time. Okay. So, amazing. All right. Okay. So where are we? We are at the top of the episode, astro-weather, from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. Hopefully, Teresa's still watching over on Instagram here. It's very delightful to see you. Usually, I don't get as many people watching on Instagram, only because I can't do the Be Live third-party streaming stuff through Instagram, so it's like not quite as pretty. So you're not seeing the overlay that I'm talking about, but you're still going to get like the meat of the episode anyway. So, and I would love to be able to do more stuff on Instagram lives and like do interviews and stuff. I'm actually scheduled for an interview June 3rd, because I think that was the earliest we could do that worked with my schedule. But more information about that, closer to that interview. So that's going to be, I believe, on Instagram Live, but I'm definitely open to, that kind of stuff. And I also want to bring people onto the episodes as the topic allows. Like I want to bring Zuri onto the episode and have her hang out and talk a little bit about the things that she sells and the intersection between some of the topics of these episodes and my friends and my colleagues and people that I want to feature because I think they do really good work or they provide really good products. Like I wouldn't mention Zuri if I didn't already purchase stuff from her. I wouldn't mention Sage Wings, for example, without, actually working with that person or buying from that person or that business. So I would love to be able to do that in the future. So if you have like a metaphysical business, or you're a tarot reader, rune reader, astrologer, you know, like, shoot me an email. I'm very much open to collaboration. All right. So speaking of collaboration, let us go to the AstroBiz Digest, the astrology for today, Friday, May 7th, and the weekend, straight from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady, from her wonderful AstroBiz Digest. So let me pull that up because, of course, I didn't prep as much as I wanted to. So I didn't grab, like, I'm looking at my tablet all the way across the room right now. So can't really go grab it. Let's just pull it up on the computer. So if memory serves, I believe that today was a pretty easy day astrologically. Very kind. I mean, it was relatively kind to me. I'm not going to lie. There were a couple of hiccups, but I think that's just because certain people that I deal with on a regular basis are assholes, and had nothing to do really with the astrology. So astrologically, yeah, okay. So that's the reason why I wasn't really that bothered by today, because it was a power day for Aries, and I am an Aries. So, all right, let me go to the AstroBiz Digest and let me show. All right, where is my stuff here? I can close that. I can close that. All right, I need to pull up the live sales feature where I have the AstroBiz Digest. I believe it's $99 for the year. So let me share that. And while that's sharing, I'm just going to tell people over on Instagram, you can get this through Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. Please go and follow her on Instagram or wherever you get your social media, and also her wonderful website. And I believe her handle is just at the Tarot Lady, except no substitutes. It has been crazy with imposters and scammers and spammers, like just stealing her images, stealing her words, stealing her profile description. It's been just bonkers. So, you know, be careful, especially when people are DMing you or contacting you and basically marketing themselves. Like, most tarot readers are way too busy to directly DM people to ask them if they want a reading and how to purchase the reading, or soliciting your money, or soliciting for readings. Like, if it's not jiving right with you and you feel like something's fishy, it probably is. So just be on the lookout for that. Most reputable tarot readers, psychics, any kind of reader are not going to drop into your DMs and ask you if you're interested in a reading. That's just not how most reputable readers roll. They just don't. So anyway, that being said, if you want to follow Teresa, her handle is the Tarot Lady. No underscores, no additional letters, no weird numbers after. It is just the Tarot Lady. No spaces or underscores. Okay. Anyway, so you can find, I have provided a link to those of you watching on Facebook or YouTube into the chat. So you can take a look at the AstroBiz Digest and get it for yourself. It is geared toward entrepreneurs, but I find it to be really, really accurate and wonderful for planning my personal life as well. So that being said, let us do let me keep that up on screen and let us go into today, Friday. So Friday is off to a roaring start when the moon leaps into Aries at 7:52 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. No wonder it's a power day for Aries, guys. Energy is high into the weekend, most excellent for spirited PR campaigns, launches, meetings, or anything that requires an intense effort. Do pace yourself, though. It's easy to burn out if you're trying to push it too hard. Okay. Now that makes sense. The day makes more sense now. At 9:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon will be sextile Mercury, making this evening fab for meetings, writing, or catching up on the latest industry gossip. Today is a power day for Aries and a weekday for Libra. Saturday's Venus-Jupiter square at 9:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time puts a spendy vibe into the morning. While this may be dope for getting clients to part with their cash, you could find yourself spending your cheddar as fast as it comes in the door too. This is an impractical vibe. If you assume you need that chinchilla laptop bag, rethink it. This transit could also bring social engagements that pay off but drain your energy. If you're promoting something with the public, don't overdo it. At 10:18 a.m., the moon will sextile Saturn. If you're promoting something with the public, sorry. Sorry about that. I went back up to the line before. The moon will sextile Saturn at 10:18 a.m., which is ideal for serious meetings. If you're connecting with influencers or power players, you could seal a deal. Venus will be in Gemini at 10:01 p.m. and suddenly we're all ready to get our best sales lingo on. So read the info above the scopes to learn how to max this out. So Venus in Gemini. Hold on one second here. Yep. Double your Gemini pleasure when Venus joins Mercury on the 8th. Mercury is in Gemini, and then Venus will be joining Mercury in Gemini on the 8th, so tomorrow. Venus in Gemini is epic for sales. Cash attraction comes through your words. So invest your good energy into newsletters, sales blurbs, social media, podcasts, and interviews galore. This transit is also super for teaching. If you're hosting classes or events during this period, you could expand your reach. This transit will be in operation until June 2nd, which is interesting because I think my interview is coming up on June 3rd, if I'm remembering correctly. All right. All right, so we've done Friday, we've done Saturday. Everyone caught up so far before I go into Sunday? Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes. Sunday morning is quiet, but the Aries energy remains. If you choose to work, you could get a ton of stuff accomplished. If you decide to blow it off today, I won't judge. You might have other exciting things planned for your Sunday, and that's okay. You might be happy you didn't go to work when the moon squares Pluto at 1:16 p.m., a challenging aspect that usually brings the power mongers and bullies out to play. Meh. Have a mimosa and brunch instead. The moon enters Taurus at 7:46 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, slowing things down to a pleasant pace. Rest up this evening. Next week is going to be the new moon. Both days are power days for Aries and weekdays for Libra. So that means that today, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are all power days for Aries and weekdays for Libra. So no wonder I'm like, yeah, because I'm in Aries. But remember, we're not just our sun signs. So keep in mind where your Aries is placed in your natal chart and where your Libra is placed in your natal chart. That might give you some additional information on how these transits are going to be affecting you personally. And if you don't have your natal chart, you can get it usually for free on sites like cafeastrology.com or astro.com. Okay, so what I like to do before we move into the topic, which is mostly going to be talking about what you guys want to learn about, and we do have some additional subjects left over from last month that we weren't able to get to, and also we had more suggestions than days in the month last month. So we have some stuff left over to talk about and see maybe if we're going to do that this month. But before we go into that, I would just like to ask if anyone wants to revisit any other of the other days this past week to make sense of maybe some difficulties. Like if your Monday was really crazy and you want to know why, I can totally look at the Astro Biz Digest and let you know what was going on a little bit on Monday. Again, I don't want to give away the farm on Teresa because that's not cool. But at the very least, she now knows that this is what I do every Friday night, is promote the Astro Biz Digest. So I really do hope that more people get funneled into her orbit and see the good work that she does, basically. And all of that wording about astrology, that is from her. I didn't really edit out any of the things that she said in the Astro Biz Digest. I might have taken a few liberties by inserting my opinions. Basically saying, oh, of course, I'm ready and raring to go because I am an Aries. And if it's a power day for Aries, then that makes sense for me. I see the match in energy, basically. So, yeah, let me know if there's any particular days you want to revisit. If not, we will move into the topics that you want to learn about for this month's episodes. I'll give it about a minute. Actually, I think there's a widget on here where there's a timer. Let me see. So. See, I told you I can give it about a minute. I can change the text though. Let's see. Can you guys see that? Can you see the countdown and the change to the... Want to make sure people can view that. And I can move it around. So you guys got 8 seconds. Though I do see that Katie has moved on already, so. All right. Moving on to the actual topic for tonight's episode, which is, let's see here. I'm not gonna display it because it's over on the sidebar here for those of you watching on Facebook and those of you watching on YouTube. I see that Just Jenny joined over on Instagram. Hello, Just Jenny. So yeah. Katie is already suggesting some stuff, and some of the stuff we already talked about, subjects or topics of episodes that we were discussing for April, but the month of April ran out, and we're ready for the month of May. And episodes that we want to do in the month of May. So Katie says, pendulums really interests me. I know little about them other than seeing it in Charmed. Yeah, I totally hear you. A lot of people get oohed and awed when they see pendulum use in Hollywood or pop culture. But most of the time it's just like, ooh, scrying, you know, and they have this cool little crystal or whatever. And it just like, it drops exactly where the location of the bad guys or the demons are, right? That's not really how pendulums work. Most of the time. I mean, can you have a dramatic kind of experience with a pendulum? Sure, but you can have that with many other divination tools. So most of the time it's a little bit more subtle than that. So, but it's definitely cool. And I will also teach, if you don't have a pendulum or you don't have to be fancy with it, I can teach how you can create your own pendulum based on like jewelry or necklace that you have, or, you know, taking a bit of string and putting a ring on a bit of string, and that's your pendulum. But most of the time, like if you're wearing something or wearing a necklace that has this kind of pendant like thing to it, then you can make it into a pendulum, and that can be your pendulum. Actually, we just did this during a coven meeting for divination, because in a pinch, someone didn't have a pendulum, but it, you know, my friend and the high priestess, you know, looked at the necklace they were wearing, and it's just like, okay, take off your necklace, hold it like this. This is your pendulum. We're going to teach you how to set it and how to work with it. So, yes, so exactly. Pendulums as in what you should use, how to use it, etc. Yep, definitely. So, maybe scrying as an episode, the different sorts. Okay, yeah, that's definitely. Let me write this down here. So we already did April stuff, but I've got to like switch it over to May. So we did stage cards last episode. That was a super, super interesting episode. And I would really, really stress going back to that episode in the replays and watching it, watching that a couple of times. Actually, that episode was like just as satisfying for me teaching some of it as hopefully you guys learning it or finding out about it, because that was a topic that not a lot of people talk about. As Lisa, a regular longtime viewer, mentioned during that episode, she was like, I've been reading tarot for like 20 years, and this is the first I'm hearing about stage cards in the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. So definitely revisit that episode. So May episodes, we have pendulums, we have altars, we have celebrity readings or predictive readings. We have EFT or tapping and how you can do that. It's not necessarily a metaphysical topic, but it's definitely weird enough that we can make it weird as well, because I found that you can actually you can pull a tarot card and then you can take that theme of that tarot card or that reading and then integrate it into an EFT tapping routine to help clear that issue or make sense of that issue. And actually, that is a reading that I offer on my website. So go ahead and check that out. Again, tarotbyhilary.com, Hilary with one L, and check out that option in the specialty reading section, I believe, or the email reading section. Just look for EFT/tapping, because I do offer personalized tapping routines based on the basically underlying theme or what came up in the cards. So I'm going to write down. So we've got pendulums, we've got scrying. Scrying is going to be a little bit interesting because, you know, I'm wondering like what you mean by that, like scrying, the different types of scrying, like crystal ball gazing, like Black Mirror scrying. there's so many different types. So again, I'm not going to purport myself to be an expert on anything, except for the tarot, of course. But again, tarot is like a lifelong study. I'm always learning new things about the tarot in particular, but we can always dabble a little bit in learning about some of these different divination techniques. Even if I'm not an expert in that particular divination technique, I'm always happy to do some research, bring it to you guys, and then use that as a jumping off point for your own research or your own more in-depth study of that particular divination system or topic. So definitely, scrying, I can touch upon different types of scrying, how some of it is done, some of the scrying that I've done personally, what works for me, what doesn't work for me. And remember that what works for me won't necessarily work for you, or and vice versa. What works for you might not necessarily work for me. So it's a little bit of divination through experimentation to find out what works for you. So yeah, Katie, just give me a little bit more about that. Like, am I on the right track there regarding scrying, like Black Mirror scrying, candle wax, sometimes flame scrying? Basically, scrying is, using it's a form of gazing in a soft way to be able to see the patterns or symbols that arise. I mean, like even to some degree, tea leaf reading can be a form of scrying, because you're gazing into the cup, and you're kind of softening your gaze and basically asking your intuition to start to piece together where your attention is flowing and what symbol, like one person might look at the symbols in a teacup and see something completely different, only because we're wired differently and our intuition talks to us differently too. So, okay, great. Katie's saying yes. Also, maybe the limits of scrying within tarot or any form, although that should be, what did you do after what told you? What did you do after what told you in the scrying session? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes scrying can be very difficult, and it really is, like, again, I don't want to give away the entire topic, especially before we teach it or we start to learn about it. But scrying to me is very, very different than tarot. I feel like tarot is more immediate, and scrying is kind of an exercise in having patience and getting into a meditative state and going deeper in order to see those symbols. Especially with my experience with crystal ball gazing, which I have very little experience, but I do have some experience with crystal ball gazing. I did take one class with Heather Lee Navarre, who runs the Boston Tea Room in, I believe, Detroit. I don't know if it's Detroit, or like Ferndale, I believe, is the area where they're in. And that is basically a psychic shop with readers and also wonderful retail space and also tea as well. So I took a class on crystal ball gazing, and I didn't mean to, but I ended up, purchasing the crystal ball that I worked with during that class. But it's definitely, scrying is less immediate to me than tarot card reading is. Because like the tarot, it's just there. It's just there. And it's very good for pattern recognition, and it's almost like I don't know, it's just very accessible to me. The tarot cards are there, they're laid out, this is the story that's on them, and it just feels very immediate to me, in a way that scrying is not. Scrying is definitely having patience and waiting for the images to emerge rather than the images being just there. on the tarot cards. So that's like a little preview of what we're going to be talking about for scrying. And I think, yeah, let's do that for the month of May. So thank you for the suggestion. Let me write that down. All forms. Okay. So we're starting to run out of room in May. We've got pendulums, we've got altars, we've got celebrity readings or predictive readings, we've got EFT tapping, and we've got scrying. So we have 4 slots to fill for the month of May, and we have, it looks like, 5 topics. And of course, there's always going to be more topics because there's always going to be more to learn, right? Not only that, just because I've taught a topic before doesn't mean that I'm not entirely willing to revisit that topic. So if I've taught a past episode and you want a part 2 or a part 3 even, or it's something that you want me to revisit, like, I never teach things the same twice. Doesn't matter how long I've been teaching for or how immediate that information is for me. Like, for example, when I've taught charm casting or creating talismans or using tarot for spell casting or spell work or as a diagnostic tool for creating a spell or figuring out what went wrong during a spell. To me, nothing really goes wrong in a spell. You just learn to cast your spells a little bit better each time. You know, I think that the spells that have gone wrong in my life have been the ones that have taught me the most. So, yeah. Oh, Dina's here. Hi, Dina. Just Jenny says, really interested in learning scrying. All right. So we've got a definite vote for scrying for the month of May. Definitely. Got it. So I know that pendulums was supposed to be last month, and I just couldn't do the episode that week. I couldn't. I was fine. I was, you know, healthy, but energetically depleted. It wasn't going to be, it just wasn't going to be a good episode if I had tried to force it. So sometimes you just can't force it, guys, right? So we have slots for May 14th, May 21st, and May 28th. Actually, so we have only 3 spots. So why don't we do pendulums? I'm going to write this down so I don't forget. We're going to do pendulums next week. So 5/14. We're going to do, why not, scrying, 5/21. And then for the last episode of the month, 5/28, I'm going to let all of you decide which one you're more drawn to. Do you want to learn about creating altars, an altar space? Do you want to learn about celebrity readings or predictive readings when that is and is not appropriate? Do you want to learn about EFT and tapping and how I do EFT and tapping in conjunction with the tarot? Let me know. There's so much to learn about. And by the way, we're going to have we might have a part 3 for boundaries and setting boundaries because I'm in a boundary boot camp right now with Terry Cole, who just came out with the book Boundary Boss. And I'm really realizing that my boundaries kind of suck. And it's not even a learning that's going to be happening. It's probably going to be an unlearning that's happening. So there's a vote from Dina on tapping. Somebody's asking for a reading. I don't do freebies, but if you want to stay tuned to the end of the episode, I will be doing a weekend forecast, which is a tarot or oracle card for the collective. So stay tuned for that. Thanks. Katie says, EFT sounds fascinating. Yes, put in boundaries for next month, please. All right. Well, I mean, it's a 2-month program, guys. So, and I don't want to take away from what she's teaching because, I'll probably just hit on the highlights and recommend the book to you because it's a doozy, man. Some of it is like really, whoo, and I'm only on the first module. So, yeah, Dina's saying tapping the tarot. Katie is saying EFT sounds fascinating. Okay. So I think we're going to do EFT for the last month. The last episode of the month. EFT, tapping, and the tarot. All right. I think we're scheduled, guys. How about that? All right, let me transfer this over to our agenda. And I'm gonna go back to a new list, May schedule, and create that. Okay. Excuse me for doing this on the fly. And if I make a typo, I'm really sorry. Okay, so Katie says, or when you have finished the program, give us the best thing you learned from it, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably give you some gems over the next 2 months. So, and I'm happy to, let's talk about that right now. I actually, so there was like, it was like a 16-minute introductory video basically on like establishing what boundaries are, what they are not, what healthy boundaries are, and like the misconception that rigid boundaries are healthy boundaries, which they're not. So there's like 3 types. There's rigid, there's porous, and there's healthy. And we want to get to healthy. So the healthy is a combination between rigid, that sweet spot in between rigid boundaries and porous boundaries. And that's just module 1, the first video in module 1. So it's just like very eye-opening, and it seems like it is very simplistic, but it's just like when you get back to the simplistic, I always say, okay, yeah, it might sound simple, but are you doing it? And usually the answer is shit, no. Let me give you the highlight, the big aha that I had. So there was like a bunch of myths about boundaries, the Boundary Boss Bill of Rights, signs you need to set boundaries, boundary categories, and within each category, there are the 3 types that I just mentioned: rigid, porous, and healthy. What are your preferences? Understanding your preferences leads to understanding where you need to set boundaries and what your boundaries are. It's so much, guys. It really is a lot. So who, me, in answer to that question about doing boundaries? Yeah, Katie. I mean, it's like, I wasn't planning on doing another course. And this is what continues to happen to me. Is like, I have so many courses that I've signed up for over the years. Some are business courses, some are like tarot courses, divination courses. And like one of the messages that I've been getting, from deity or from divination is, like using the tools that you already have, using the courses that you already have, using like you don't need to add on more tools. You have to use the ones that you have. So that's, kind of where I was at. It's just like, oh yeah, I need to go back through some of these courses that I have because they have lifetime access. And like, what am I doing? Like, I haven't used them. I haven't integrated them. I haven't done the coursework because I just haven't made the time. Right. And then of course this book came along, and like in some of my choruses that I do regularly, this person, Terry Cole, was interviewed. So like, when we're talking about EFT and tapping on that episode, I'm going to mention Gala Darling, who is who I learned tapping from, and her version of tapping, which is power tapping, which is instead of doing this, you're doing this, which is both sides. Don't worry, it looks weird. It's supposed to look weird. We'll talk about it in that episode. But Terry Cole was interviewed by Gala Darling. Another, course that I have that I go back to regularly is B School. That's Marie Forleo. Terry Cole was on Marie TV. So I'm just like, okay, this person's showing up everywhere. She has a new book out, and it's all about boundaries. And, I've been told basically in no uncertain terms that I need to get better at my boundaries, that sometimes I allow for too much. My no isn't heard or respected. But, having your no not being heard or respected has very little to do with you, and so much more to do with the person that's not respecting your no or not hearing your no. So that gem and many others to come. So I heard about this so much that I was just like, I didn't want to have to sign up for another course. I didn't, but I just felt compelled to do so. It was just that feeling in my gut that it's just like, you need to do this. You just need to do this. So the book is called Boundary Boss, and is by Terry Cole, Terricole. And I will actually, I think that the Boundary Boot Camp that I'm in right now, it's still open. Like the module just dropped yesterday, the first module. But if you want to join me in, your boundaries, you can still do so. So let me see, Terry Cole, Boundary Boot Camp. So I believe, all right, there we go. Hold on one second. I'll give you the link for her website, and you can go from there about the book. So I'm dropping that in here. Sorry, Instagrammers, but you can find Terry Cole on Instagram. I think it's just Terry Cole, at Terry Cole. I'm going to go ahead and display this on screen. So yeah, terrycole.com, and the name of the book is Boundary Boss. And let me see if I can pull up the link for that too. I mean, like, we're going to be learning about boundaries until we die, right? Like until we learn it. There was like one point in one of the interviews that she was doing, and hi, Katie Ray, Dreamweaver, welcome to the broadcast. There was one point in the interview, and I can't remember if it was with Marie Forleo or with Gala Darling, where it's like that point where she works with clients, and she's a psychotherapist, been working with clients and patients for over 20 years. And, with her patients, they've said like, well, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I set that boundary. And then she's like, oh, no. You're going to have to continue to do it. And they're just like, what? I have to continue. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, like, and this is something that I mentioned actually in part 1 of the boundary workshop that I did, and part 2, where you realize, if it's a boundary and you exert that boundary or express that boundary, what I have found is something will happen almost immediately to challenge you in enforcing that boundary. And so that's like kind of another side of the coin, or another way of saying what basically Terry Cole said in that interview. And I think that was probably the moment where I was just like, oh yeah, I need to work with this woman. God damn it. Okay. And Jamie's here. Hello, Jamie. Yeah. So, it's fun. It's fun. It's good times. So I already sent that. Let me see if there's shop videos. Yeah. Order Boundary Boss. Yeah, it's just boundarybossbook.com. So it's just a white cover with Boundary Boss in red letters. And I think the subtitle is Boundary Boss, the essential guide to talk true, be seen, and finally live free. So, if that sounds good to all of you, pick up the book and, join me. Join me in the Boundary Boot Camp. I'll be there. It was interesting, actually. Some of the stuff that she was teaching already is like talking about oversharing and how that's like a sign of like oversharing with the wrong people and that whole TMI kind of thing. That's a sign of porous boundaries. People that are like insanely codependent and they're like just like you get their entire life story within 5 minutes of meeting them, and you're just like, help, like too much. That is a sign of their own porous boundaries where they overshare. Oversharing is a sign of porous boundaries. So I was just like, oh, okay. And then meanwhile, over here, there's Hilary, who has super rigid boundaries and just alienates and isolates herself so she doesn't have to deal with people, which is also not healthy. So fun times, good times. So there's the link for the book, boundarybossbook.com, if you guys want to pick that up. I didn't mean for this to turn into like a love letter to Terry Cole, but it's like a little bit mind-blowing, some of the boundary stuff. So yeah. Katie says, I mentioned your comment about boundaries with a friend, saying as soon as you set up a boundary, someone will come along and test it. Oh, thanks, Katie. I love hearing when people quote me. And that's not even like, I don't even know where that originally came from. I don't think it was necessarily me. I feel like somebody else has said it and I just kind of co-opted it. So, like I would love to be able to figure out who originally said that to me. But I have found that to be very true when I've been, expressing what a boundary is and then having to enforce that boundary. And it's just like, it's like the universe is like saying, are you sure? Are you sure that's actually a boundary? Okay. If it really means it's something to you, if it really is a boundary to you, then you will care enough to be able to enforce that boundary. Because most of the time, like boundaries are, it's a form of consequences. Like, this is the boundary. Okay, you crossed that line. Now there are consequences. And some of it is boundary work, and also some of it is setting up structure so that, like I was saying this the other day, talking about like time off requests. And it's just like, well, it's not me saying no to a time off request. It is simply, did you follow the parameters of how to get to the yes? If you didn't, then the no shouldn't be surprising. So that's another gem for you guys to take away. All right. So I'll keep that in mind about boundaries and reteaching them. So let's see, boundaries in another month. So anyone ever wanted to know my thoughts on boundaries? You're going to get a lot of them in the next 2 months. Okay, so we are set up for the month of May, and this month's episodes over the weekend or by Monday at the latest. I will put up the regular graphic schedule of episodes so that all of you know when that episode is going live, so that you can come attend live. If you're not able to attend live, I totally understand. You can watch the replay at your own pace, and sometimes some of these require you to be here live and then also watch the replay to really truly absorb the material sometimes. But I will say that it is always more fun to show up live for these, because that way you can ask any questions that you have of me in real time so that I can answer. And if you think it's a stupid question, nothing is a stupid question. And even if you're feeling hesitant about asking that question, just think about all the other people that might be watching in the future or watching the replay, having that very same question in their mind, but not able to ask it because they're watching the replay. And of course, you can still ask questions on the replays by just, dropping your question into the comments, and I will get back to you within, 48 hours to try and answer as best as I can. But if you want the video version of it, show up live, ask your questions on behalf of those that cannot in the future. But it's just more fun energetically to be here live. All right, so for next week, we have pendulums on May 14th. After that, May 21st, we are going to be talking about scrying. And to wrap up the month of May, we will be talking about EFT tapping and the tarot on May 28th. So again, pendulums on 5/14, scrying on 5/21, and EFT tapping and the tarot on 5/28. So that is the month, all scheduled. Thank you all very much for your input on what you guys want to learn about. So it is 7:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to get myself a little bit hydration. And if anyone has any questions about upcoming topics or whatever, go ahead and drop them into the chat right now. While you do that, I am going to go ahead and hide this. I'm going to put up the timer again. I'm going to give it about a minute so I can hydrate, and we can set ourselves up for the weekend forecast. Sounds good for everyone? Sounds good. Just Jenny is asking, is this best viewed on Facebook? You can view it on here on Instagram, but it's a little bit more bare bones. So I do try to run it simultaneously through Facebook, through YouTube, and also on Instagram. But I'm only able to stream to 2 places at the same time through my third-party app. So if you want the bare bones version, absolutely, you can still tune into Instagram. You'll still get the materials. But if you want everything displayed for you in a pretty way, then you can view on Facebook or YouTube. So Facebook, it's just facebook.com/tarot by Hilary. Same thing as my handle on here. And on YouTube, it's youtube.com/Hilary Tarot, and that is Hilary with 1 L. But either way, I've been doing this for the last couple of months for all 3 places, just because for IGTV, they won't let me upload anything past an hour, and usually we run past an hour for some of these episodes. So I would rather just, stream it live on Instagram, and then have it be native to Instagram, instead of having to upload and then be told, nope, you can't upload it because it's longer than an hour. So this is my way of kind of working around that. So, but you can definitely watch the episodes on Instagram, but it's just a little bit more bare bones. You're not seeing the pretty overlays that I created through Be Live, without seeing it on YouTube or Facebook. So that's my long answer to your short question. Best viewed on Facebook or YouTube, but you can still tune in on Instagram, and you're still going to get the meat of the episode. That's a good question, though. Thank you for asking it. Because right now, what people on Instagram are seeing is this celestial background, because I'm goofing around with the filters, I guess. I guess that's what they're called, filters. I mean, I can change it over to the pretty filter, which I'm going to do right now, which is adorable, but it also makes me look super, super pink or red. So Super cute stuff. I mean, I can go down a rabbit hole for filters. Anyway, let me put it back to the galaxy, the stars. Yeah, Jamie says, yay for fun filters. I know, right? All right, is everybody ready for the weekend forecast, or do I need to put up the timer? I don't think I need to put up the timer, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because it's kind of fun. Let's see. Moving on to the weekend forecast. See, I can move it around, but I can't. So Katie's saying, now I have to peek at Instagram. Yeah, and I mean, the fun part about Be Live, and again, like, this is something that you don't have to do necessarily to be successful doing a live stream. And I mean, like, if you guys have been with me since the very beginning, almost, I think it's going to be 2 years in August of me doing the weekly shows. You know, I did not start out this fancy, and I did not start out this cohesive, I guess. Because it's just a learning curve, and it's also about comfort. Like, you don't have to have the fanciest tools, you don't have to have the fanciest setup. Like, over the last year and a half, I guess, I've been adding to my setup, or I've been trying different things, and I've been, again, like I was saying before about divination, experimenting until you find what works for you. So I like I still haven't set up the large 6-foot stand light that I got. It's actually still out in my hallway from Social Light, but I still have this rig that it's like a clamp light, and that's what's holding my phone over here, and my computer is in front of me. I mean, super fancy setup here. I have a couple of cookbooks underneath my laptop to kind of raise it to a better level, because my back was really hurting me because I was slouching over my computer screen. But you don't have to have anything fancy in order to really do this or bring something that's useful to people. You just don't. So, like, your mileage may vary, but ultimately what's most important is that you're delivering quality information, and you're connecting with people, and you're speaking to people as if you're talking directly to them, because you are. Like, it doesn't matter that people are across the world. We're still having an interaction here, and that's also the reason why I say, you can watch all the replays, and that's great, but there's nothing that can be better than the live interaction. And then having that live interaction kind of gives you this it's almost a form of testimonials in a way. It's giving this like stamp of approval, but it's also, you're like creating a I guess a legacy or library of work where, if people have questions for you, especially like I have to speak as, a service provider, a tarot reader. But if people have questions on how I read or how I work, I can take one of the episodes that I have the replays, and I can send it to them and say, like, if you want to know what, like, how I read at a party, here is what I did on Facebook a couple of months ago when I was pulling cards for people. Like, that is a great example of how I work in a party setting where I'm doing really quick readings and how I read. And most of the time, how I interact on here is what you're going to get when you book a reading with me. It's just going to be an addition with cards, like, here's my deck over here. I mean, every single week I do the weekend forecast. You're seeing me shuffle in real time. There's no real difference between, how I read on here versus how I read one-on-one with people. So I hope that makes sense to everyone. Don't really know what was being asked at that point. I'm like waxing philosophical about a lot of things. Basically, you're like, if it looks fancy, and that's great. Like, and it took me a while to get here. But some of the best episodes that I did were some of the earlier episodes where I was just enjoying teaching. One of my favorite episodes was on the new moon energy and working with new moon energy. And that's like way back before I was even using Be Live or filters or showing people's comments or, having the cute end screen that I have for YouTube. It's more about the information and the value that you're providing. And you don't have to kill yourself either to do that. Like, people want to know what you think, and they want to know how you are and what your opinions are. And, they want, like, how are you helping people? Doesn't have to look fancy. You don't have to have cute overlays or a logo or, 50 million social media accounts. Just as long as you're helping people or providing value for people, that's what really matters. You don't have to be the fanciest. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be you. That's what people want. Speaking of that, do people want the weekend forecast? Excuse me. It's me. I'm gurgling. Yeah. Yeah. So Katie's in both. Katie, are you in both places right now? So Katie says quality goods, but we do like your pretties. Yeah. Yeah. Weekend forecast. Yep. Yeah. So Dina, I noticed that Dina switched over from Instagram to YouTube. So I mean, it's whatever you guys prefer, whatever is more palatable or easy for you. But yeah, I would say best viewing over on Facebook or YouTube. So I'm going to, yeah. So Katie said I popped into IG and then left again. Yeah, well, we have viewers over on IG too. So that's the reason why I have my setup the way I am, or the way I have it. So one of these days I'll take a picture to show exactly what all this looks like and how crazy it looks sometimes. But it's what makes sense and works for me, and all right, where's my info? Okay. So since I didn't do a card of the day because I didn't have time again today, we're going to use the weekend forecast as kind of the card of the day. So I'm pulling from the Mystic Mondays Tarot by Grace Duong. Oh, and that's a flyer. So we're done shuffling. I really do love this deck, and it is so pretty. This has got the silver edges. And I love the backs. I'm very into the iridescent lately, guys. And it's a very modern deck. It sometimes will pull a little bit from like the main symbology of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but it also has its own interpretation. It's very geometric in nature as well. And this is what the box looks like. So Super, super cute. By the way, I'm also doing, trying to post the card of the day on TikTok. Yes, I bit the big one and I'm on TikTok. You can find me on TikTok just like my handle is the same for pretty much everything except for YouTube. Tarot by Hilary. So you can find me over on TikTok, and actually, I think I accounted for that in here. Yeah, hold on one second. Let me hide there. So notice with the overlay that I did, right over here, I've got the Instagram logo there and I've got the TikTok logo there, but it's the same. It's Tarot by Hilary. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably been noticing some reels that have been kind of repurposed from TikTok. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's a little bit awkward, but I mean, in the same way that I was awkward during my first attempts at live streaming, obviously, hopefully you can see the difference after a year and a half of doing this every week. It'll probably be the same kind of thing happening with TikTok. As I get used to the platform, I'll do different things based on my comfort level. So I've been doing some card of the day over there, and maybe I'll do some live readings over there. But it's very demanding, some of it. And some of it has a little bit of weird ideas. Like there's some people making fun of witch talk on there, and, to each their own, but like some of it is a little bit of reading tarot, but not really understanding tarot before you just pull out the deck and read for someone or read for the public. And I'm seeing all of these, tarot TikTok or tarot readers of TikTok saying some really wild things about the tarot and tarot cards. Like, I mean, that's fine if you have your own interpretation of like the Hierophant, for example. But if I can't understand where you're getting that from, not quite sure if it's very valid. I know that people's intuition works differently at different times, but it just seems like some of it is a little bit like grasping at straws and not really understanding the structure of the tarot, what each tarot card truly means before going and, hauling off and saying, I'm a tarot reader and I'm going to do this. I mean, it's a topic that we're probably going to be covering in a future Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast. So yeah. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to the actual weekend forecast from an actual professional tarot reader. Okay. It's a whammy card, but it's a reversed whammy card. So I feel a little bit better. We are getting the Tower reversed for the weekend forecast. So since this has a companion book that goes along with it, some of you may know my differing opinions when it comes to the Little White Book or companion book. Sometimes I can take it or leave it depending on the nature of the Little White Book or the companion book, and sometimes it's a really valuable resource. So we have the Tower reversed. This particular guidebook for the Mystic Mondays Tarot, I happen to like. It is full color, and it provides a page for the upright, and it provides a page for the reversed meaning. So I think it's a really great resource, and I do say for guidebooks, if you are reading with like a modern deck or a deck that is illustrated in a very different way than the Rider-Waite-Smith deck or the Toth deck, this is a good resource for you to kind of understand why they chose to go the way they did in the artistic interpretation of that particular tarot card. So I'm going to read from the companion book for the Tower card reversed, and then I'm going to give you my own interpretation. So this is the weekend forecast. Tower reversed from the Mystic Mondays Tarot. So keywords are warning, fear of change, and avoidance. Phew, you've managed to avoid a disaster, getting out of harm's way just in time. The Tower reversed is a warning that drastic changes are on the way. However, you are given time to prepare before the storm. This is an opportunity to take preventative measures to soften the blow, so to speak. There is also an indication that you're resisting change and that you're doing everything in your power to avoid these unfortunate but necessary occurrences. Prolonging the situation will not help. Face your fears and accept change as a start to a new beginning. Contradicting thoughts and actions make way for a confusing outcome. Actions speak louder than words, communicating your innermost thoughts. Take risks, be bold, and put yourself out there. As they say, go big or go home. So, Tower reversed. I don't necessarily agree with that last part there of going big or going home. I think that's actually a pretty detrimental thing to say when you are dealing with a major arcana card such as this one. It's really volatile energy that we have going on this weekend. According to the weekend forecast, again, this is your free reading for the collective. I do see that people are asking for readings in the chat, and I already said this is not the place for freebies for specific readings. This is for the collective. If you'd like to book a reading for me, the information is right there, tarotbyhilary.com. So knowing that this is a pretty volatile energy, the reversal of the card does tell me that there are mitigating circumstances, like you will be able to either avoid or mitigate or minimize the damage that is associated with the Tower card because of the reversal. This is really a shit hits the fan kind of card. With the reversal, it's either the shit has already hit the fan, or the shit is about to hit the fan, but you know about it. It's not a blindsiding kind of situation. So take the companion book interpretation, take it with a grain of salt, because I would say that the whole go big or go home message, I don't think is exactly right for this kind of energy. I would say be cautious before you act. Think about what you're doing, and also remembering that your actions speak louder than words, and also that other people's actions speak louder than words. This is what you've got to do to kind of have a smoother ride through tonight and through the weekend. And also, the planetary influence for the Tower card is Mars. Mars is most at home in the sign of Aries. We do have, at the top of the episode, we did talk about the astro-weather, the astrology from Teresa Reed's Astro Biz Digest, and we talked about how today, tomorrow, and Sunday are power days for Aries. So the astrology is kind of telling us or corresponding with the tarot's energy. But you do need to exert some caution at this time. Otherwise, you might burn yourself out, or you might say something that you don't mean to somebody. Be very cautious. Think things through before acting. That whole go big or go home, it's not going to work with the reversed Tower card. You need to be very clear that, like, at this time, your actions, while actions do speak louder than words, at this time, actions are speaking much, much louder. It's magnified. Does that make sense to everybody? Give me a shout in the chat if that makes sense. And you can see why I was saying that kind of geometric, modern kind of look to the cards. So Katie says, sounds good. Well, I mean, as much as the Tower card can sound good. And remember that, like that, yes, there are big baddie cards in the tarot. Give me 1 second here. I need to plug in my computer. But no tarot card is inherently good or bad. It's always going to be context clues. It's always going to be informed by the situation that you're in, the surrounding cards. If you have a reading, it can tell you a lot. Like if the Tower card reverse came up in a reading, but it was surrounded by perhaps the Queen of Cups or the Magician, it might be less of a blow because you have the Queen of Cups of empathy and you have the Magician card of, flexibility or problem solving. So that informs, like one tarot card will inform the other in the space of a reading. So keep that in mind. One card can do so much in a tarot card reading, but sometimes one card readings can only tell us so much or guide us so much. All right. Whew, that was a lot, guys. Okay, so once again, I want to remind people that we do this every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We just went through the agenda for May. So if you want to tune in again, I would love to see you and teach you about the following topics on the following dates. So we have pendulums on May 14th. So that's next week. If you want to learn about pendulums, tune in. We have scrying on May 21st. And we have EFT tapping and the tarot on May 28th. So I thank you all so much for watching. And I do want to remind people that you can book a reading at tarotbyhilary.com. Just had that information up on screen, but I can put it up again. Again, www.tarotbyhilary.com. That's me. I would love to be able to read your cards for you. So book a reading. Let's see. Let me turn off my overlay so that I can set things up correctly on YouTube for end cards, so you can tune into other episodes that I've done in the past. We've done many different metaphysical topics and divinatory topics and tarot topics, including live readings, but got to show up for live readings if I'm going to advertise live readings. Otherwise, that's a waste of time. So anyway, so Katie's saying, thank you. Have a good weekend. You too, Katie. Thank you all for tuning in. I so appreciate it. I appreciate my regular viewers, and I appreciate anyone new that's coming in. And yeah, I will see you again next week, Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, I remain Hilary, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friend, do not argue with me. You have intuition. If you'd like to book a reading with me, tarotbyhilary.com. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you next week, Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye.